It was October 5th, 1892. In the bottom left corner of the relatively new state of Kansas lies a small town named Coffeyville, home to a population of roughly 2,000 rowdy and wild Americans. The setting is classic Wild West. And nothing is more Wild Westy than a good old Bankai-style story. In broad daylight, the notorious Dalton brothers are about to make their move. The plan is very simple. Step 1, walk to the bank. Step 2, grab the money. It's as watertight as a tree. No, that's too boring, says Bob, the oldest brother and leader of the group. We have to make a name for ourselves, boys. We need to pull off a heist that beats anything Jesse James ever did. You see, why rob one bank when we can rob 2 banks? Do you realize we only have exactly 5 people, big bro? If anything happens, just scream across the street and we'll run over to help. All right, off we go. This is the dumbest heist in history. He said it right. So before we dive headfirst into the comedic circus that is this heist, let's get a quick history lesson on our ambitious robbers. The Dalton brothers, Bob, Grat, Emmett, and their lesser-known accomplices, Dick and Bill, actually started out on the straight and narrow path of life. Believe it or not, they even joined law enforcement as deputy marshals, hunting down outlaws themselves. Their older brother, Frank, was also a respected deputy marshal, until he was gunned down by some whiskey runners. After that, the younger Daltons took one look at the law, clicked their tongues, went, "Nah, we'll pass," and jumped to the dark side. Plus, it turns out that hunting bandits pays like dirt. But being a bandit? That's where the real money is at. Who would have guessed? Thus began their illustrious career as cattle rustlers, train robbers, and a general nuisance across the American Midwest. Eventually, the brothers made enough noise to earn their spots on wanted posters, becoming notorious enough to believe their own hype. And that is exactly what led them to this absolute genius idea. Fast forward back to the day of the heist, the Dalton boys were ready to achieve criminal immortality. Bob's foolproof plan went as follows. Bob and Emmett Dalton would hit the National Bank. Meanwhile, Grat Dalton, Bill Powers, and Dick Broadwell would casually stroll into the Condon Bank right across the street. Now, obviously, if your master plan to escape financial stress is to rob 2 banks in your own hometown, you might want to reconsider your options. Around 9:30 a.m., in obvious fake beards and mustaches that fooled absolutely no one, the Dalton brothers began their legendary heist. The gang tied their horses in a nearby alley and approached the 2 banks with their guns drawn. Once again, in broad daylight, it shouldn't come as a surprise to you that 5 guys looking like Gandalf wizards aggressively walking toward the local banks while wielding Winchester rifles and revolvers made the townsfolk scream with suspicion. Also, I forgot to mention this earlier, but the Daltons literally grew up in this town. Everyone recognized them immediately. "Nice beard, Bob. Love the mustache, Emmett. Wait a minute, aren't you guys?" The Dalton brothers were robbing the banks with their covers blown before the heist even started. Word spread like wildfire. And remember, this is the Wild West. There's no insurance policy. If your precious gold gets stolen from the bank, if your gold is gone, it's really gone. In the eyes of the townsfolk, the Daltons weren't just robbing the bank, they were robbing the people themselves. Everyone rushed toward the banks to check if the rumors were true. Good heavens, they really are robbing our money. Did anyone bring a gun? You know why scouting a bank before robbing it is important. This is exactly why. There was a hardware store right next to the banks, which was practically overflowing with firearms and ammunition. The townsfolk, from stable owners to shopkeepers, all rushed into the store, quickly arming themselves with rifles, pistols, and shotguns. Within minutes, an angry, heavily armed mob was waiting for the robbers outside. Meanwhile, the Daltons were blissfully unaware of the situation. The trio inside the Condon Bank, Grat, Dick, and Bill, rushed into the vault, which by sheer luck was open. Unfortunately, the gold was in a secondary safe inside that vault, locked by a 10-minute timer. By the way, that wasn't true. The bank manager just made it up. But the Daltons, with their infinite brains, believed the guy and decided to wait 10 minutes for the safe to open itself. Seriously, didn't any of you have the bright idea to try opening the damn thing to see if what he said was true? And didn't anyone start to feel restless when the street was unusually quiet? Okay. On the other side of the street, Emmett and Bob Dalton were a bit more successful. They tied up the officers and customers, then forced the bank employees to yank the vault and safes open. Immediately, they stuffed the gold and cash into sacks and slung them over their shoulders. And just like that, they were ready to retreat. They grabbed the officer, used him as a human shield, and slowly walked out the front door. Their plan was to cross the street, regroup with Grat, and run back to the horses together. Not sure how they were going to get through the crowd, but yeah, before they could leave the bank, a banker hiding outside peeked out from cover and started unloading his revolver at the duo. "Big bro, I don't think going this way is a wise decision. Maybe we should retreat through the back door instead." "You make a great suggestion, little bro. By using the back door and avoiding the main street, we minimize our chances of getting shot. Let's retreat back into the bank and try this new plan." Back to the trio. While they patiently waited for the safe to open, they heard the volley of gunfire on the opposite side of the street and rushed out of the vault to see what was happening. Knock, knock. And they also received a volley of bullets flying through the door and windows. I know we are continuously getting shot at, and the longer we wait, the narrower our window of escape gets. But I really like gold. At the National Bank, Emmett and Bob kicked open the back door and escaped into the alley with a new human shield. A brave young man jumped out from a blind corner, drew his revolver, and ordered the two Dalton brothers to surrender. No, you surrender, or we will shoot." "No, my righteous heart, and God forgive me, I cannot let you. We don't have time for this, let's go." Bob and Emmett then headed toward the end of the back alley and peeked out to spot the massive crowd unloading their guns into the Condon Bank. They also spotted an older man holding a Winchester, tensely aiming at the front door of the National Bank. It was clear that he was trying to ambush the two brothers when they eventually showed their faces at the front door for the second time. Love the enthusiasm, but the building has more doors. Good Lord, don't pick up that gun, buddy. Bob Dalton's third victim died from another headshot. The officer who was left outside on the sidewalk saw the two civilians get shot and ran over to the hardware store next door to get himself a rifle. Then, he chose the nastiest shooting angle in the entire history of firearms and waited for the Daltons to cross the street. But then, and I swear to God, I don't know how Bob keeps doing this. Somehow, he noticed the faint reflection of the gun as he crossed the street. And at an impressive distance of 200 feet, he shot the officer in the head. How do you keep doing that? The two then quickly dashed across the street, their gunshots masked by the frantic volley of bullets pouring into the Condon Bank. By the way, inside that bank, the trio occasionally shot back to ensure the crowd didn't start feeling comfortable enough to storm in. But other than that, there really wasn't much they could do. Worse, Bill got shot in the arm and was bleeding profusely. "Bill, Dick, forget the gold. If we stay here one more minute, we will die before that safe opens. Stuff your pockets with cash and get ready to run." Then, surprising the townsfolk, all three jumped out of cover, firing back, forcing the crowd to find cover themselves. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the group ran out the side door, dashing quickly toward the horses. Funny, this is happening in my town. All right, just a little further, boys. If I'm not mistaken, my brother should be right around this corner. We're going to make it, I'm sure of it. Nani Bakanaga, yo. Get out of here now. Where's the damn money, you wild dogs? And where is my brother? However, before that question could be answered, the townsfolk caught up at the end of the alley. My lord, fire! Bob was the first to receive judgment. The first bullet hit him in the head, and the second pierced his heart, killing him on the spot. Bill, with blood pouring from his arm, tried to get on his horse, but he too was gunned down by the angry mob. The youngest brother, Emmett, along with Dick, managed to slide onto their horses and dash away. But Emmett looked back. "Big bro, Emmett immediately turned his horse around and tried to pull his brother up onto the back of the horse. But before he could do so, he took a full blast of buckshot to the back, causing him to collapse into the mud. Dick continued to flee, but in doing so, took a few bullets to his upper back. He was found dead 2 miles west, still sitting on his horse. A few miles further west, another Dalton brother, Bill Dalton, was waiting with spare horses to help the gang escape. But after getting tired of waiting, he went home, and only later found out what happened to his brothers. Every member of the gang, except one, was killed. The only survivor, the one who took 23 bullet wounds, Emmett Dalton. He was in a life-threatening condition, but still managed to survive the shootout. He was nursed back to health and thrown into prison for the small remainder of his life. Although he was pardoned 14 years later, where he transitioned into an actor. Notably, he played a bandit named Odloff. Once a bandit, always a bandit, right? And that is how the notorious Dalton Gang met their end in Coffeyville, with their overly ambitious but terribly planned double heist. Later in life, Emmett was asked why the gang pulled such a ridiculous stunt. He replied that while his oldest brother wanted fame, what they feared most was a deputy marshal named Heck Thomas. He had hunted the gang so relentlessly that they felt forced to pull off such a massive heist just to make enough money to leave the territory. And they guessed right. Bill Dalton, the last Dalton criminal, was eventually hunted down, just as the brothers predicted, and shot dead in a shootout with the marshals. And so, one question remains. What the hell was their mother thinking at home? Bloody children.